this person trying to frame the Willow project, the Alaska oil drilling project, as pro-humanitarian, pro-environmental. Now, I've seen this throughout the Biden administration where they take unhinged right-wing policy and then they package it as progressive, and I see a lot of people who fall for it. You have the George Floyd Policing Act that AOC even went on MSNBC and said it was a good thing. The George Floyd policing bill that gives more money to the police. You have the bank bailout that Ro Khanna and all the liberal progressives are apologizing for. They are now saying it's not a bailout. You have kids in cages became migrant overflow facilities. We had to fund the IRS to go after the rich. The Democratic Party is complicit with unhinged far-right policies, and then the Democratic Party said, we're doing this for social progress. We're breaking the rail strike as a favor to labor. You guys see how the Democratic Party get away with rhetoric and get away with crimes that Republicans wish, because Republicans straight out do it, but then there would be outcry, there would be people protesting. You get pictures of AOC crying on her social media about the migrant overflow facility. Now all this stuff is okay. Now all the things just A-okay, 100% fine. Bernie Sanders 100% okay with endorsing and supporting Joe Biden in 2024. So this is the problem with people who even say they will call out the Democratic Party every once in a while. Like you have like a Sirota who may write a story exposing the corruption, and then at the end of the day, if you tell people to support these people who are complicit with our suffering, the people who literally run our cities, our government, like look for the blue states, look at the homeless populations. If you look at those people who are responsible for that, the people who write about those crimes, they turn around and say those people are the lesser two evils. Like Kwame Ture said, your analysis means jack shit if that's your conclusion. I want to get Zoya in here. Anything you want to add? I'll open that to the panel before we start our first story. We have a few things we're going to cover. The Republican Party melting down over DeSantis Ukraine comments. That's going to be wild. Zoya, Andrews, Jay, I'll open the panel. Anything you guys want to add before I move on?
Well, on Biden, he just blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, causing an ecological disaster. He broke the train union strike. He's handing over pristine Alaskan wilderness to big oil, something that Trump couldn't even achieve. And now he's bailing out venture capitalists while he's antagonizing China and funding an endless war in Ukraine. I mean, if this is the lesser evil, and we are going now, towards election season. So get ready to hear all of Biden's amazing achievements, even though he broke every campaign promise and recently admitted that big oil was the one that wrote his platform for environment. So all of these corrupt politicians now want our attention and now want our donations. And someone who is not even a leftist by any standards, not an anti-imperialist, not an anti-capitalist, Marianne Williamson now expects to have the support of the left. And I will say, for people who want to support her, for people who are completely invested in electoral politics, go ahead. If you still want to organize on line 3 protests and getting them out of jail, I will work with you. If you want to work on abolition, on anything, I'm happy to work with you. But what I will say is a red line that I think I want to stick to is that we should not be telling working class people to donate to a dead-end campaign that is going to give PR to our issues, because our issues already have majority support of Americans, including Republicans. We don't need more PR. We need people who can put these things into policies, and the political will does not exist. The system is rigged. It will not allow for it. So we have to organize outside of the system. It is valuable to have insiders, but I don't want a single person giving up their grocery money for false campaign promises.
Zoya is too powerful. Zoya's love, Zoya's life. Jay, Andrew, anything you guys want to add before I move on?
Yeah, I mean, real quick, I'll say that I've worked for AOC's campaign. I worked for Bernie's campaign and a few other progressives campaigns. I have like maxed out to them. I've knocked doors for them. I've like done all kinds of shit for them. And, you know, I think it was time and effort wasted. Yeah, I honestly think it was time and effort wasted. I'm 100% open for them to prove me wrong, but they're not going to prove me wrong. I'm just not confident on that. So yeah, I mean, absolutely don't spend your grocery money, your hard-earned money on these campaigns. Like it's a dead end. It absolutely is a dead end. So that's what I want to say that real quick. And the other thing that I want to say was something you touched on real quick about the bank bailouts. I sent you an article, I think maybe like an hour ago, about how Gavin Newsom owns 3 wineries, all of which are clients with Silicon Valley Bank. Yeah, and on top of that, his wife runs a charity, and on that charity, the board of director of one of the charity is the president of Silicon Valley Bank. So
here, speak on this, because you sent me this earlier, and I don't mean to interrupt you. I just want you to speak on this. Look at this. California Governor Gavin Newsom has had personal accounts with Silicon Valley Bank for years. 3 of his wineries are clients. The same with Ro Khanna, and that's what we called out on RBN, is his investments, his stock portfolios on SVB. Criminals are governing us with blatant conflicts of interest. Go ahead, Jay, if you want to speak on this a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm going to say. Like Silicon Valley Bank, they very heavily donate to Democrats more than Republicans. So they're getting bailed out under Joe Biden's administration, 100%. There's no denying that. So Joe Biden did say that, the bank managers will not get bailed out. That's bullshit. They're getting bailed out. They literally fund Joe Biden's campaign. They fund all Democrats' campaigns. Yeah. They're 100% getting bailed out. I saw a quote earlier today from economist Michael Hudson, who's fairly good on these sort of issues. He said the best way to rob a bank is to run a bank. So no, they're getting bailed out. Like at the end of the day, a private bank is a private company. They only exist to serve themselves, their own bottom line. And the only thing that gets trickled down in this economy is the burden of cost. We're going to have to pay the cost, basically. The 99% is going to have to bail out the 1%. That's the only thing that gets trickled down in this economy. So, despite what Joe Biden says, despite what anybody else says, the taxpayers are going to have to end up bailing these banks out one way or the other. That's despite what Joe Biden says.
The game is rigged. If it's heads, they win. If it's tails, that you lose.
Exactly. Yeah.
These CEOs, these managers of these banks, they make millions of dollars per year because apparently they're the talent. They're the talent that drives the economy, but they crash every 5 to 8 years and make millions of dollar bonuses off of that. How is that not enough to radicalize people? I will never know. Anything else you guys want to add in? Because I'm gonna tell you guys the stories we have for today. Andrew, anything you want to chime in on?
Yeah, just real quick about the Willow project and about the fact that Democrats with just kind of slick talking can get done a lot more dangerous shit, especially domestically, than Republicans. The Democrats under Obama were trying to push through drilling in the Arctic really close by. I haven't looked on a map to see exactly how close the Willow project would be to where Obama was trying to open up drilling in the waters outside of ANWR, which is this the Alaskan National Wildlife Refuge. That was Obama doing that. It's consecutive across multiple different Democratic administrations, and the only thing that stopped or at least delayed drilling in the ANWR area and other oil exploration to decide where to drill, go and look around, see where the oil is richest, was there was this large Shell oil company offshore drilling rig that came to port in Seattle to be repaired and outfitted to go up into the Arctic. And a ton of people got together, including my friend Lee, who founded the Heron's Nest, and they organized tons of people to learn how to do water safety and paddle maneuvers. And they got together with a few different local tribes and brought their canoes, and like hundreds and hundreds of people in canoes and kayaks, plus these big traditional cedar canoes, went and blocked parts from getting to the ship. And they were protesting on land and on water simultaneously, to the point where the port canceled the contract with Shell, and Shell left to another port because they were getting fined thousands of dollars a day. And it's like that's a non-electoral solution that had a massive political positive impact in Washington State. But one more quick point about Democrats being slick talkers is Biden, right when he came into office, he issued, I want to say, 15 executive orders that all said kind of nice things. But if you actually dig into what the executive orders did, it was next to nothing. So he canceled private prison contracts for federal prisons, but expanded in the new ICE contracts, expanded private prisons for these migrant overflow facilities that AOC is suddenly fine with. And he also canceled an expansion of the Keystone XL pipeline that kind of goes right through the Midwest. It brings heavy crude from the Canadian and Montana shale deposits down to Texas to be refined. He canceled an expansion to that pipeline so he could build political capital with the people who are still naive enough to buy into this Democratic duopoly strategy. And he's now using that political capital to push through the Willow project. He's trying to build more political capital, manufacturing consent, bringing on people to say, oh, the Willow project, it's actually good for the environment. It's good for indigenous people.
Yeah. I got to find that video because that's part of the gaslighting where their messaging now is, oh, we do this because we care about the environment. This is a humane thing to do. But it's actually wild to see. I'm going to show you guys this because now this is some of the reaction. Speaking of the Willow project, these are the people that I warned. These are the activists that try to keep their distance from the RBN community and the RBN left because we're too radical, because we propose solutions outside the Democratic Party. There's Gen Z for Change, an absolute joke of an organization. That's essentially a Democrat group. But look at this tweet here in response to Biden and all these weak progressives who support the Democratic Party. Like, there's not even no declaration of leaving the party in any of these statements. No harsh criticism of Biden in any of these pathetic statements. We are Gen Z for Change, a coalition of Gen Z activists who have worked with the president of the United States for the duration of his presidency. Despite our working relationship, we want to make one thing clear. The approval of the Willow project is a slap in the face to young people across the country. In the statement, where is the call to leave the Democratic Party? Where is the harsh criticism? Oh my God, Joe Biden, you're so mean to us. That is not a criticism. And I'm so tired of this mealy mouth shit that comes from these progressive groups. Because if this happened under Donald Trump, and we've seen it. If this stuff happened under Republicans, these people will be shouting from the rooftops. They be calling him corrupt. They be calling him evil, a danger to humanity. Meanwhile, when Joe Biden does it, oh my God, he slapped me. My face is slapped. Fuck out of here. Here, AOC, I'll read this. I'll pass to you guys before I get to some announcements. AOC, look at this mealy mouth shit. The Willow project has been estimated to produce 287 million tons of carbon dioxide, the equivalent of the annual emissions from the 76 coal plants, and cause nearly $20 billion in climate change-related changes. The only acceptable Willow project is no Willow project. So in this tweet, AOC managed to talk about the Willow project without ever mentioning Joe Biden. Without even mentioning the Democratic Party. Oh my God, I can't believe this Willow project is happening. The Willow project is so bad. If only we knew who was doing this to us. Remember what Kwame Ture said at the beginning of this clip. Any analysis that does not direct us to the enemy is a waste of time. Do you guys understand? Anything you guys want to add? Open panel real quick, and then I do some announcements if you guys want to pass it.
We live in a country where 30% of Republicans that were surveyed wanted to bomb Agrabah from Disney's Aladdin. So, we live in a very, by design, uneducated country. And because of that, the masses are easily led astray. And all Biden has to do is posture and use leftist rhetoric. And then, like his marijuana thing, where he basically, in the end, pardoned nobody. But it's still going to be hailed as a policy win because he framed it that way. And all of these bills that get passed, like Build Back Better or workers' rights. Everything is actually the opposite of what does the opposite of what the bill is named. Yep. So we are constantly lied to, and unless you're actively in politics, people just don't know what's happening.
Well said. So, Jay, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of people basically who voted for Biden, who supported Biden, basically be shocked that he would fucking do this. I mean, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden both said they're not going to stop fracking in one of the debates, like proudly said it. Nothing they've done has shown that they care about the environment or anything like that, So for people to be suddenly shocked by it is just it's just insane to me. And the other thing is, I'm just, that tweet by AOC, I'm just fucking sick and tired of these motherfuckers pretending they give a shit about the environment.
Yeah,
like, you're funding war.
Campaign. You was on the AOC campaign. So you know how much you betrayed us.
She's not the only one either. I mean, like, you're literally funding a fucking war in Ukraine. Well, more places than just Ukraine, but like you voted to, give weapons to Nazis in Ukraine. And, the Pentagon's the biggest polluter on the planet by far.
Yeah.
So I don't want to fucking hear it from these motherfuckers who vote to give money to the Pentagon, who vote to give money to these defense contractors, indirectly anyway, who vote to essentially further these conflicts, who vote to increase the Pentagon power, and then talk about like, we should like try to protect the environment, all this bullshit. Just get the fuck out of here. Like, I mean, you're
like, what was the carbon emissions on that Ukraine package that you voted for the weapons deal that you guys supported?
Fuck load, yeah. I mean, like an Abrams tank goes through like at least 70 gallons of fuel per hour, one Abrams tank. So I mean,
but when it comes to war, they all in.
Yeah.
Andrew, anything else you guys want to add? I want to get to an announcement. Andrew, anything else? I'll give you a second. Anything else you want to add real quick?
Oh, just real quick. I'm going to come back another time with some dirt on where the funding comes from for this Gen Z for Change.
Here we go.
But real quick, I'm just going to read a little bit from them. They say, we're the place where the creator economy and progressive politics intersect on social media. They basically go on to talk about how they have an electoral policy and advocacy campaign where they're just trying to get Gen Z to vote. They're trying to get Gen Z to vote for Democrats. But yeah, this organization reeks to me of quasi-governmental agency funding. An organization like this in another country would be getting funding from, and even maybe inside the US, they're going to get funding from something like the National Endowment for Democracy. And what they are is they're stalling. They're trying, Gen Z and millennials, which I'm a millennial, I'm kind of like right at the tail end.
Yeah.
A lot of us are, far more of us are fed up with capitalism than previous generations because there's just really nowhere else to go for us once we know a little bit of accurate history. And so what they're doing is they're like, Gen Z is still young enough. If we can just get in there and try to steer them away from real politics, that's what this organization is built to do.
Yeah, well said.